What's up everybody, Arrg the Pirate here, and today let's talk about how to make you a beast in the mid lane. Now, as you all know, the mid lane is the fastest position in the game. Not only do the minions meet up and start engaging faster than any other position, and the distance between the two Tier 1 towers is closest, but you also have the 6 fog walls to deal with, and the 2 ledges that enemies can drop down from within the enemy kind of main jungle area. So there is a lot going on in the mid lane, and currently the mid lane tower really sets the pace for the game. Now, I have made a rotations and positioning guide, but it was not in version 42, and I kind of want to talk about more than just rotations and positioning in this video, which that video is still very viable. You know, the times have changed a little bit with the pace of the match, and it's a little bit more difficult to rotate just because it's so much faster pace now, but pretty much everything is still viable. And if you'd like to check that out, I'll leave a link in the description, as well as put a kind of little button you can click at the end of the video. But, you know, I really kind of wanted to talk about strategies and things like that in the mid lane. And not only for improving teamwork, but just improving solo play in general. So first, I'd like to start out with upgrading your best ability. Now, every caster has one ability that is just absolutely strong. The only thing that I would say, or the only exception, is maybe Morgish. Some people like doing her Mark first, some people like doing Hive first, but other than that, almost every caster has one ability that's strong. And in this case, Howitzer's R2000 is his strongest ability. Now, I'm currently rank 1, and you can see at rank 1 I am doing 98 damage to these minions. Now, that's a substantial amount of damage, but realize that's going to take 7-8 hits to actually down a hero. At rank 2, I'm doing 169 damage. Now, that is a 71 damage increase. And for rank 3, I'm hitting for 239 damage. Now, if you see, I've already got all my ranks. I'm level 8. I'm just going back and forth, standing in the same spot. I haven't spent any card points. I don't have any cards on. This is pure damage. And for rank 4, I'm hitting for 309. So it's a total of 210 damage increase with nothing but the basic damage and being rank 8 for all of these damaging abilities. So you can really see by actually getting to that max level rank, you're doing substantial amount of damage. Now, I did just rush out there to hit that Bellica, and I currently hit her for 351. Now, she is a little bit lower than me, and so that's where that difference is going to be with her ability armor and things like that. But I really just wanted to show hitting a hero with that. So 351, hitting that a couple of times is going to do a substantial amount of damage and maybe even kill that hero. But at rank 1, only hitting for 98, you're not really hitting hard enough to actually cause a serious issue for that mid laner. Now, the next key thing to getting high damage output and really doing well with the mid laner is farming. Now, the ADC's main concern throughout the entire match is getting enough farm, because they benefit from getting a lot of card points or gold and being able to buy those in-game cards as fast as possible. Now, this is the exact opposite on the off-lane side. The off-lane side typically benefits the most from unlocking their kit early. Now, this includes Wukong or Iggy or Greystone, but there are a handful of others like Crunch and Feng Mao. All of these heroes have very strong kits, and although they do benefit a lot from having cards, their kits make up for not having that early game power and things like that when they're facing a carry with a support. So you want to definitely focus on getting enough farm. Now this means last hits. If you see here in this Morgesh video, I've got my Coal of the Week on. Now this card is absolutely amazing for getting these last hits, just because last hits is pretty difficult with a caster, especially with this new attack speed, and so you have much lower base damage. So I would definitely say picking up this card for a caster if you're planning on playing Death and Intellect is a really great thing, and you want to get it on as early as possible, because the longer you wait, the less you really need it. So I typically try to put this card on as early as possible, and you see here I'm able to secure these last hits pretty easily, and although my farm is not great, you know, I will slowly get more and more farm, especially whenever I can force heroes like Iggy out of a lane. And that kind of brings me to my next point about controlling the minion wave. Now here I am in another bot match, and you can see this Shimby is playing very aggressively, and this is taking me away from my farm. Now I don't want to waste any of my abilities on her, since we know they're doing less than 100 damage at this level, and you can see my health compared to the damage output I'm going to have to hit her several times before I'm able to kill her, and I'm going to run out of mana way before that. So there's no sense in just spamming abilities, but I can hit her to get the minion wave closer to my tower. And as you saw, I was able to hit her a few times and get that minion wave close. This is going to allow me to farm in safety. I have my tower, which at this early level you don't get a whole lot of tower dives, but if you do, at least you can turn around and actually get a substantial amount of damage onto the enemy that is diving you. So knowing when to have a lane close to your tower and knowing when to push it forward is key. Now if you look here, I'm able to take out the enemy's siege minion. This gives my new wave a siege minion, and they don't have one. So my lane is naturally going to push. This is key to know, because no matter what I do, my wave is going to push faster than theirs. So I need to use this to my advantage. I can clear out their minion waves and get my siege minion under tower. This is going to allow that tower to take, you know, a decent amount of damage. Now, as a caster, you can see I'm hitting this tower. I do 19 damage, which is nothing. That is nothing at all when when you're talking about tower damage. So it's best in this early game to get my wave into the tower like I do right here, and then get out. As you can see, I'm hitting this tower, 19 damage. It's not going down in health at all, and me staying where I am is very, very dangerous. So it's much better to back off. Now this is also a perfect opportunity for me to go back to base, because this lane needs to reset. By me staying in lane, I'm stealing, I'm going to be out of position and available for a gank if I stay close enough to actually get that player experience. But if I back all the way off and get out of range of that experience, but I stay safe, I'm just wasting time. So that is a perfect opportunity for me to go back to base. Now, when you do go back to base, it's key to get back fast, because not only is the enemy hero probably going to kill your minion wave, but the tower's helping as well. Now if you see here, I kite that minion wave around and take a ridiculous amount of damage for absolutely no reason. I could easily let that tower or let that minion wave come into base. I can use my abilities to slow them down if you're playing Gadget, and my minion wave will catch up, and all I'll have to really deal with hitting the tower is the siege minion. So 1 or 2 hits is quite alright. Now if you see here, I'm out of mana, I'm low on health, and I'm going to have to go back to base if I want to be effective. So I'm taking myself out of my farming lane just to save, you know, maybe 50 damage from hitting the tower, which is not smart. Now another thing is know how to build your caster. If you are running a caster, you should not really put a whole lot of points into agility, which is what I just did there. And you can see I don't have any mana increase at all. I don't have really anything that benefits me. Sure, I attack a little bit faster with my basic attack, but if you put those points into mana, you might get an additional sticky bomb out of, you know, spending that thousands of gold on intellect over agility. Agility offers very little for casters unless they need agility cards. So it's key to know what you're building and put the right cards with the right gems on your build. Now I am able to put some more pressure on the Shinbi. Like I said, this is a bot match. I'm doing this 100% to kind of show a few of these tips and tricks. But if you see here, I'm going to go ahead and force this lane again. Now I'm level 7, I still do not have a power card on, and I'm going to go ahead and get into this tower, and you can see I'm doing 23 damage, which is nothing. That is nothing. This siege minion right here, this is the guy that's doing all the damage. And if you see, when I hit, nothing happens. When he hits, a chunk of that health goes down. So right now, I need to back. Right now, once I get that, you know, lane or those minions in that tower, it's a perfect opportunity for me to back. And that's what I'm going to do. But unfortunately, since I waited so long, if I back right now, their minion wave is going to push into my tower, and my tower is going to take a substantial amount of damage. So because I made a poor decision in staying in doing my 23 damage to that tower, I'm now at half health with barely any mana, and I'm unable to do much at all but basic attack. Now you see here this Shinbi runs in, and if I would have had any mana at all, I'd have been able to take care of her. But since I am out of mana, you know, she ends up getting away, and I'm having to, you know, pretty thoroughly defend this tower, and it's taking damage, which, like I said, would have been 100% prevented if I would have backed as soon as that wave went into that tower, instead of spending that 10-15 seconds, you know, just poking at it. So knowing when to back and backing and then getting back to your lane to defend is key with the mid lane, because it is such a fast-paced lane. Okay, let's talk about rotation. Now, I am able to get that mid lane tower down, and my lane is pushing out, you know, in an unsafe area. It's not safe for me to be that far up by myself, not only because I'm gadget and my escape is not as good as others, but because that's just inviting people to rotate on me. So if you see here, I'm going to just go ahead and throw a Seek and Destroy and a Sticky Mine, or Sticky Bomb, whatever they're called, just to do some damage to that tower. Now I'm going to pretend that Shinbi wasn't behind me, and I'm going to take this time to rotate. Now this is a great opportunity for me to get some substantial damage on this tower and maybe help out this crunch. But if you see, my mid lane tower is currently being pushed since Shinbi and Grux were there. So I need to immediately turn around and go save my tower. I could have helped crunch down his tower, but there's no reason for me to do that. If we're going to take an off lane tower for a mid lane tower, that's completely not worth it. And I'm able to run back over there. The waves are still small enough to where I was able to successfully defend that lane, and now I'm going to be able to push back. And you can see I've still got a substantial wave while I've almost cleared out theirs. This is going to open me up for another rotation opportunity. Now, I do get a little damage onto this Shinbi. Unfortunately, I run out of mana, but I am now currently in an unsafe area, so I'm going to immediately turn around and run away. Knowing when to fight and where to fight is key in the mid lane. And you can see, now that I've pushed that lane up as far as I did, I'm going to just go ahead and rotate over, try and get a kill. Of course, I go into a lot more depth and it's not quite as quick in that other video, and I'll definitely leave the link for that. But you can see, once a lane is pushed in an unsafe area, it is much better to rotate over and help out your team than it is to just stay and keep pressure up in the mid lane. Well, that's going to wrap it up, guys. I hope I went over some key things that maybe you didn't know, or maybe you just were unclear about. If you'd like me to get a little more specific about things, definitely let me know. You know, I kind of just came up with this idea whenever I was talking to my subs earlier, and you know, I think I might go ahead and make one for all of the positions. Just, you know, not only would this help out the pirate crew and working as a team better, but this also helps out just people that don't really know, hey, when should I go back to base? If, you know, if I'm playing mid lane and I'm still healthy and got good mana, but my tower's all the way pushed up, is it a good time to go back to base? You know, those type of things I can definitely talk about, and I would absolutely love to make more videos like this. If they actually help, please let me know so I continue to make them for all the roles. Well, thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, show me some love, leave me a comment, think about subscribing, and as always, I'll see y'all in the next video.